Oh my goodness, it's rare that this happens, but this thing came along. One of a kind. There's no other pedal that really does what this does on Earth. This is the BIGSBY pedal from Gamechanger Audio. There's a lot of pedals that kind of do similar things, right? In a world of that, this thing stands alone. Maybe you could make the argument that something like the Boss Harmonist or the WHAMMY pedal is somewhat similar because you can bend with them, but this doesn't really feel or operate the same way as those. This has a distinctly vibrato bar-like feel to it. It's not just like whammy pitch effects or something like that. It's got a more subtle, is the word organic or something? The way that, you know, you use a tremolo bar on the guitar, once you get used to that kind of action, this really functions like that. And all you're kind of doing is really shifting your phrasing and your technique that you use with a vibrato bar from your right hand to your right foot, or I guess your left hand to your whatever foot if you're left-handed. Obviously, I took video of my foot while I was using the pedal, and when I watched the video back, it's like kind of weird, like watching it, because it's exactly the phrasing that I do with a bar, with a tremolo bar. I'm just doing it with my foot instead of with my hand. You can make it sound radical if you want to. I mean, the bending that you do with the bar, you can get quite a radical pitch shift if you want, like a little bit more like you would with a drop kind of whammy effect. But the thing really excels when you have the depth set quite light. That's the amount of change, pitch change that you get when you use the tremolo bar. Like a whole step or a half step, something like that, and then you use it and it just really takes on that vibrato bar-like character. It sounds exactly like you're using a real bar. So if you've got something that doesn't have a bar on it, obviously, you know, Les Paul or something like that, you can now get those effects real easy. And even if you've got a Strat or something like that, you know, you can avoid going out of tune, that's for sure. Or a Telly, maybe you want to get like some pedal steel type B-bender type effects. I mean, this excels at that too. You can play dyads or triads or whatever and bend into them and everything's in tune and just sounds really smooth and cool. Whammy bar type effects are not the only thing it does though. It actually has rate and depth controls built in, and also there's detune as well. So like when you turn it on, you get that subtle kind of still chorus-like sound, and then at the same time you can also get like vibrato. So that's the sound that started the song at the beginning of the video. It was just such a cool sound, I thought. Like kind of like you're kind of shaking a vibrato bar on a guitar. And also with a little bit of detune mixed in. One thing I didn't do in my video was actually invert the direction of the pitch change. So you can set it so that it'll actually bend up. Most people when using a bar though, for the most natural phrasing, I find you're generally dipping the bar, especially with the BIGSBY, right? Basically, I did two different sounds. I got the, you know, the whole step pitch bend thing going, and that's how I played the solo. And then I also got the modulation kind of wiggle effect going, lo-fi mod sort of sound when I pushed the bar down so I could tail out the ended chords and get some mod on it. Okay, so let's get on to some sound examples. I'm going to show you how I got those sounds exactly, play a little bit more through it. What a great pedal. It's super fun. The BIGSBY from Gamechanger. Here we go. Okay, so I just cut the first couple parts in the track at the beginning of the video. The pedal gives you a number of different parameters you can tweak, and one of them is rate and depth. Now, if you set the rate at perfectly still, what ends up happening is when you depress the pedal and you've got some depth added, you're either going to get a pitch up or pitch down effect. But if you have the rate engaged at all, then what you get is like if you're wiggling a vibrato bar. So hopefully that makes sense. So that's kind of what I've got going right now. Like I say, I've also got a little bit of detune added to it. So let me just show you what the sound sounds like right now when I play the pedal. You know, very like human sounding pitch vibrato going, but I've also got some detune going, and that's accentuating the effect. So I'll show you what I mean. If I push this button right here for some of these secondary functions, you can see how this knob is lit up red. If I roll that this way, it goes completely off, so there's no color. That means I've got no detune going, and it sounds like this now. A little bit more just like it's less diffuse and it's straight up vibrato. Now if I bring the detune into play, listen what happens. Gets even more wobbly and kind of lo-fi. And that's I assume because we're getting vibrato, but also detuned, so like two type of pitch effects happening kind of at the same time. And I just really liked the sound and how kind of diffuse and, I don't know, lo-fi it was. Just sounds kind of creepy. If I roll the detune all the way down again, on that chord you can really hear the defined, you know, now it's like a little bit cleaner vibrato. Both are really good sounds. I'll play the part with no detune. It's a little more psychedelic with it, so I really like that. So now, if I get out of this mode, I'm going to go back here. You can see this is kind of the main sort of functions editing mode here, and you can see this rate control right here is blinking. If I was to dial that back, I'm just simply going to get a slower rate then. So you can hear it's, you know, a little bit slower on the rate. And I've barely got the depth in at all. And when I barely have the depth mixed in, I'm just getting that little bit of vibrato effect. If I roll the depth in more, so that this control lights up more, now what you're going to hear is a more kind of defined and seasick sound. Not even subtle. So I really like it when it's barely on. Gives you like a vibrato bar type effect. This just sounds really cool. Another interesting parameter here is the tone control. You can hear it's darker now. If I turn this up so that it turns red, tone stays nice and bright. So you can kind of vary the tone of the affected signal with this control. Okay, so I just got the solo on the track at the beginning of the video, and for this I've got the pedal set to just do pitch dive, and it drops approximately a whole step when I lean on the pedal, or the bar, the whammy bar. And so it sounds something like this. You know, so you can do those things where I was hitting chord. And it's just really fun. I played something like so I'm just getting those little dives whenever I lean into the bar, and it just sounds so cool. It's fun. I'll admit it took me a while. I really had to sit here and kind of get the hang of playing with it and develop it. But after about, I mean, literally a couple hours, I've been sitting here doing this at least. But after a while, it became very natural just to, and instead of leaning where I would normally lean with my right hand, to lean with my right foot in this case. I'm sitting down. Maybe I would do it with my left foot if I was standing up. I'm not sure. But anyways, it just sounds really, really cool. And it's just really fun, you know, laying into, you know. I'm very familiar with that kind of phrasing. I do it a lot with the bar. It's why I have bars on my signature guitars and use them a lot. And I specifically used this guitar without a bar so that there wasn't any confusion when I was doing this particular part, that all those bends are coming from this pedal. It's just so fun and cool and unique and unlike anything I've ever sort of done before. Thanks so much for watching my video on the Bigsby pedal from Gamechanger Audio. This is such a cool pedal. Like I say, it's pretty rare that something comes along that nobody else has really touched in the world of guitar pedals, and I think this thing definitely qualifies. Gamechanger, they just do some really, really cool stuff. They're a sustain pedal where you could kind of hold chords and then jam on top of them. I mean, they're fuzzes that are so unique and cool. They're just a really, really unique company that always comes up with game-changing ideas. How about that? You can check it out further, the link in the video description below. Click there, it'll take you to more info about the Bigsby pedal. Great job, Gamechanger. I love this thing. It's gonna come in really handy around here. I'm sure I'm gonna use it on stuff Please hit subscribe if you haven't. Hit the little bell by the subscribe. You'll get alerts when I put out new videos. All right, I'm Pete Thorn. Take care.